Okay, Unit 1.2 test, not 12. Or day 12, just kidding. Okay, so number 1 through 7 says simplify the following. So if you look at number 1, there's nothing in front of this parentheses, but there's stuff in between, which means we're not multiplying all the way across. Okay, that means we're just going to distribute this to everything in the parentheses afterwards. So there's nothing in front, so this just comes down. And then here we're distributing. So negative 3x times y is negative 3xy. Negative 3x times y squared is negative 3xy squared. Negative 3x times 2xy, well, negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. There's x twice, and then y once. So now we're done distributing, and now we have to combine like terms. So this is just x squared, and this also has x squared, but it also has a y, so it's not the same. So that has no like terms. So then we have xy and xy. There's no more. This is xy squared, but this is x squared y, so it's different. Now I know to put it in order, I need to do my bigger. So this has a degree of 3, degree of 3, degree of 3. So these 3 have to come first. So I'm going to go ahead and combine these. 5 minus 3 is 2xy squared. So once I finish them, I'm going to cross them out. I'm going to bring down this guy, negative 6x squared y. And now it doesn't matter what comes next. So we could do this. It's positive 3x squared. When there's nothing in front, that's positive. And then negative 5 minus 3 is negative 8xy. Now, if you have the first two terms, if you have these two flip-flop, that's fine. And if you have these two flip-flop, that's fine. Okay, look at number 2. Again, we're not distributing across because there's a symbol in between. So again, nothing in front of this one, so we can drop the parentheses. And then we're going to distribute the negative. So negative 3xy negative y squared, because a negative and a positive makes a negative. Well, 3 minus 3 is 0. Those are my like terms. And these are not like because this is squared and that one's not. So the higher degree goes first. So negative y squared minus 2y. There's my answer. Okay, so look at number 3. Again, there's something in front. This is in front. That didn't work out. So we're going to distribute it. Remember, we add our exponents when we're multiplying. So 5 times 2 is 10. A times a, well, that's 2a, so a squared. X to the 7 times x to the 6, well, 7 plus 6 is 13. Then we're going to distribute this. 5 times 3 is 15. A, and then 7 and 3, so that's 10. And then 5 times 6 is 30. A times a is a squared, x to the 7th, because there was nothing to combine with that. So there is our answer. Okay, so let's look at the next one. Here we're going to double distribute, but we have 3 terms, which is fine. X times 7x squared, well, this is x to the first, and technically it's 1x, so that's fine. 1 times 7 is 7. X times x squared is x to the third. X times x is positive x squared. X times 7 is going to be positive 7x. Okay, now we have to do this side. So negative 3 times 7x squared is going to be negative 21x squared. Negative 3 times x is just negative 3x. And negative 3 times 7 is going to be negative 21. Now we need to combine our like terms. So I have an x cubed, and I don't have any more x cubed, so then I have an x squared, and no more x squareds. Then I have an x, and this has nothing. So highest exponent first, 7x cubed, then squared. So this is technically 1 minus 21 is going to be negative 20x squared. And then 7 minus 3 is going to be positive 4x. And then negative 21 had no like term, so there's my answer. Okay, let's look at number 5. Now, this time there is nothing in between. So we are just double distributing. So 2x times 5x, well 2 times 5 is 10, x times x is x squared. 2x times negative 7, 2 times negative 7 is negative 14 with 1x being multiplied. Negative 6 times 5x is negative 30x. Negative 6 times negative 7, well 2 negatives makes a positive, and that's 42. Now, when we double distribute, usually the middle two terms are my like terms. So we have 10x squared minus, they're both negative, so it's like adding. If you struggle with negatives, do not be afraid to use your calculator. So negative 14 minus 30 is negative 44. Bring down my plus 42. Now this is the difference of squares, so we should have that middle term cancel. So 3p times 3p is 9p squared. 3p times negative 1 is negative 3p. 1 times 3p is positive 3p. And then positive 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Now, middle two terms are alike. Negative 3 plus 3 is 0. So we have 9p squared minus 1. Now be careful on number 7. I've had a lot of people do this one wrong by just writing it twice. So you need to write it, not write it twice, but squaring both sides. That's not how this works. You have to write it twice. Now you double distribute just like we did on the last. So 3m times 3m is 9m squared. 3m times negative 4 is negative 12m. Negative 4 times 3m is negative 12m. And negative 4 times negative 4 is positive 16. Now, these are my like terms. They are not opposites like they were there. That was a negative and a positive. These are both negative, so they do not cancel. You get negative 24m plus 16. So that is part 1. So let's look at the next part. The next 4 want us to take out the GCF. So if we look at number 8, our GCF, well, our smallest number is 9. 9 does go into 36. So then we have x squared, y squared. So letters are not the same. So divide it out. 36 divided by 9 is 4. And the 9's canceled on the second one, so there is my answer. Okay, here, this has a number, this doesn't, this doesn't. So we're just looking at letters and exponents. So they all three have an A, and remember, we take out our smallest. So this is a third power, second power, so we take out 2. They all have a B. It says second power, first power, so we just take out 1. C, well, right away, they all have a C, but this one's the smallest, so it's just C. So this is my GCF. So 2, technically 1. 2 divided by 1 is 2. 3 minus 2, remember we subtract exponents. 3 minus 2 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, and the C's cancel. Negative a squared over a squared cancels. 2 minus 1 is 1. C's cancel. Minus a squareds cancel. B's cancel. 2 minus 1 is 1. C. Here, they both have a 6, and they both have an x. Now, take out the smallest exponent. That's technically 1. So divide by 6x, divide by 6x, and we're left with x squared minus 1. Now remember, it just factoring out the GCF. That one could technically factor further, but we're only factoring the GCF. Here, my like terms, they both have an A. This doesn't have a coefficient, so we're just looking at letters. And when I take that A out, I'm left with m minus 2n. And the order here did not have to change. Now also remember, if the first term is negative, your GCF is a negative. Okay, so let's look at the next one. The next part is grouping. These 4 are grouping. So the first 2 are already grouped for you. Remember, when the parentheses match, you take it out like a GCF. And then what you have left is your other parentheses, so x minus 5. There's your answer. We like these because they're already done for us. Now remember, if there's nothing in front, you can always put a 1. So like if this was just minus this, you could put a 1 there. Here again, x plus 4 is match. And when I take it out, I have 2z minus 3. Here, there is no GCF of the whole thing, so we're going to go ahead and cut it in half and actually group it. So what's my GCF of the left? Well, they both have an m, and when I take that out, I'm left with r plus s. GCF of the right, they both have an n, and its first term is positive, so plus n. When I take that out, I'm left with r plus s. They match, so I take it out again, like a GCF, and I'm left with m plus n. Okay, look at number 15. 15 does have a GCF of the whole thing. They all have x's, so we take out the smallest exponent, which is squared. So x squared is my GCF. So 5 minus 2 is 3, plus 4 minus 2 is 2, minus 3 minus 2 is 1. Here x squareds cancel, so minus 2. So I'm going to bring that x squared down, and I'm going to forget about it. And I'm going to go ahead and cut it in half, find my GCF. So 2 does go into 4, and they both have x's. Squared is my smallest exponent. So 2x squared, 2x squared. 2's cancel, 3 minus 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2, x squareds cancel. Here my GCF is negative, or negative 1, because there is no GCF, we have to take something out. Just like I was telling you here, if there was nothing there, put a 1. And when I take that out, well, negatives just cancel the other negatives. So this becomes positive, positive. And now they match. So x plus 2 comes out. And my GCFs, or the leftovers, are what my other parentheses is. Okay, so flip to the back. Now, these are trinomials, which means we're doing the snowflake. Okay, so look at number 16. There is no GCF for the whole thing, so we go ahead. A is 1, B is 7, C is 6. A times C is 6, B is 7. A is 1, and my letter is x, so 1x, 1x. Do not put squares there. That's not, yes, the A is squared, but that's not what I want. Okay, we're looking for what multiplies to give me 6 and adds to give me 7. I've told y'all when they're 1 apart, it's always 1 in itself. So positive 1, positive 6, which 1 plus 6 is 6. 1 times 6 is 6, 1 plus 6 is 7, so that works. So there's my factors, because neither of those simplify. Okay, number 17, again, there is no GCF. 3 does not go into 11, so right away we know we're good, because 3 is prime. Negative 11 is B, negative 20 is C. A is 3, so 3x, 3x. 3 times negative 20 is negative 60. B is negative 11. Now, if you struggle with this, remember you can do the calculator trick. So top number, negative 60, divide x. Top number, negative 60, divide x plus x. And you go to your table and you look for your bottom number, b, in y2. So there's my negative 11. So it's negative 15, positive 4. Now, 3 over 4 doesn't simplify, so that's a factor. But 3 over 15 might. And it does, so it goes to 1/5. Bring over your x, bring over your minus, so x minus 5. So 6a, 6a. A times c, 6 times 12, 6 times 12. So we mean negative 72. B is negative 1. So again, we can use our calculator. We're looking for negative 1. So right there at the bottom, it's positive 8, negative 9. Now these both look like they simplify. So we can go to our home screen. Alpha y equals enter 6 over 8. Remember, I said always ignore your symbols. And we get 3 over 4. Bring over my letter, bring over my sign. Okay, this is what I mean. Do not put the negative with the next one. So we get 2/3. Bring over my minus, bring over my a, and I get 2a minus 3. Okay, number 19. Again, no GCF. A times c is 30. B is 11. A is 15, so 15x. 15x. There was no GCF. So 11 is right here, so we have 5 and 6. And again, they both look like they probably simplify. So alpha y equals enter 15 over 5. Gives me 3. Now remember, if it gives you a whole number, we make it a fraction by putting 1 underneath. So we get 3x plus 1. And then we get 5 over 2. Okay, look at number 20. This one does have a GCF. So they all have a y. 2 does not go into 7 or 15, so there's no number, just a letter. Which means all the y's just go one smaller. So y squared, y, and those cancel, so plus 2. Now, I know my y is going to go with my final answer, and I'm going to ignore it for now. So a is 7, b is 15, c is 2. So 7y, 7y, 7 times 2 is 14, b is 15. Remember, when it's one off, it's just 1 in itself. So this doesn't simplify. 7 over 14 simplifies to 1/2. And there's my answer. So let's look at 21. Again, no GCF on this one. It's negative 18. B is 4. AX. AX. Whoop. So and we're looking for 4. Well, again, I don't see 4. It goes from 3 to 4.4, so that doesn't work. Double check our work. We typed it correctly. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18, so therefore this is prime. It doesn't factor. Not possible. I'll take anything as long as you tell me there's no answer and you don't just stop. If you just stop, I'm going to think you don't know it. Okay, here is a GCF. 2 goes into 12, which goes into 16. So 2 is my GCF. When I divide that out, I'm left with x squared plus 6x plus 8. And I'm going to bring that 2 down to be part of my answer and ignore it. So A is 1, B is 6, C is 8. What multiplies to give me 8 and adds to give me 6 is going to be 2 and 4. Okay, now the next two are perfect cubes. Now you'll be given these formulas, but if you forget them, I will write them down right here. So the difference of cubes is a minus b, a squared plus ab plus b squared. And then the sum of cubes, when we put this one in order, is going to be a plus b, a squared minus ab plus b squared. You do not have to memorize those. But I do want you to realize on number 23, there's a GCF. So we need to divide by 3. 3 goes into 81. And when I take that out, we can do it in our calculator. 81 divide 3, we get 27. Well, I know 3 is going to be part of my answer. I'm going to ignore it. But I need to figure out what cube minus what cube. This step is what y'all skip a lot. Well, 1 cubed is 1 cubed, and then 27 is 3. Or you could do cube root. Remember, math 4, and do 27, and it'll tell you 3. Okay, but we divide our exponents. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. So a is 3y squared, and b is 1. So I'm going to plug it in. Okay, and that's what I have. Now we're going to simplify. I'm going to go ahead and bring it all the way down. 3y squared minus 1. 3 squared is 9. 2 times 2 is 4. Plus 3y squared times 1 is 3y squared. 1 squared is 1. Okay, 8. We do have to put it in order. So the nice thing is they're both positive, so it's just z cubed plus 8. Now I'll figure out what cube plus what cube. So z and 2. So a is z, b is 2, and we plug it in. So z plus 2. This is one of the ones that you don't really have to use the parentheses because a squared, well, z squared is just z squared, minus a times b, well, z times 2 is 2z, plus b squared, well, what's 2 squared? That's 4. Okay, good luck on your test tomorrow.